Hello everyone and welcome to my second booktube. My name is Magarena and this time I'm going to review two new books. These are The Great Gatsby and one of the stories of the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which is A Case of Identity. If you've seen my last booktube, you will notice that I'm going to develop this one with the same structure as in that one. That means that I'm going to first provide a summary of the story, then giving a brief biography of the author, then making descriptions either of a character or of a place, and finally I'm going to give my personal opinions, thoughts, comments and points of view on each story. Also, as usual, I'm going to begin with the longest book. This is the novel The Great Gatsby, written by F. Scott Fitzgerald. The story begins in the spring of 1922 when Nick Carraway moves to the village of West Egg in Long Island. Across the bay, right in front of him, in the village of East Egg, lives his cousin Daisy with her husband Tom Buchanan. In one of the dinners at Daisy's house, Nick meets a friend of Daisy named Jordan Baker, and she tells him that Tom is having a mistress in New York City. And in addition to this, in a private conversation between Daisy and Nick, she tells him that she's been unhappy lately. It comes a day when Tom asks Nick to come with him to the city, but this is just an excuse to see his lover Myrtle Wilson. Myrtle is married with George Wilson, a repairman who works at a garage in what Nick calls a valley of ashes between Long Island and the city of New York. As the summer progresses, Nick was already accustomed to the lights and noises of the parties offered by Great Gatsby, his neighbor. But there is something about these parties. No one is invited. They are all invited by themselves. The only person ever invited by Gatsby was Nick, but because he has a plan. Nick goes to the party, meets Gatsby, and after a few meetings between them, finally the truth comes out. Daisy and Gatsby had a love story before Gatsby's gone to war, and this was 5 years ago. When they were together, Gatsby was just a soldier. He was not even a wealthy man. But after the war, when he knew that Daisy was already married and trying to get her back, he'd done illegal stuff and turned himself into a millionaire. And he bought a mansion right in front of Daisy's house. And he offered parties each night with the hope that someday Daisy appeared and they could meet again. Nick arranges a meeting between Daisy and Gatsby, and they realize how much they missed each other. After this, they became lovers. In a meal at Daisy's, when she is ready to leave Tom and goes living with Gatsby, she cannot do it. And instead of this, she asks everyone to go to the Plaza Hotel in the city, and Tom accepts. Once there, he and Gatsby confront each other for the love of Daisy, and Daisy cannot stand this, so she runs away in Gatsby's car with Gatsby. And on the road, she accidentally kills Myrtle Wilson, Tom's lover. Tom tells George that the car was from Great Gatsby, so George grabs a gun and finds Gatsby in his pool while he was waiting for a call from Daisy and shoots him in the back and kills him, and instantly he kills himself too. Nick arranges a funeral for Gatsby, but no one arrives, not even Daisy, except for Jay's father, who tells him the truth about Gatsby's earlier life and his real name. Francis Corky Fitzgerald was born the 24th of September of 1896 in St. Paul, Minnesota in the US, to parents Edward and Mary McQuillan Fitzgerald. He was a 20th century American short story writer and novelist. And although he completed more than 150 short stories and 4 novels, he is best remembered for his third novel, The Great Gatsby, from 1925. The Great Gatsby is today widely considered the great American novel. He dealt with alcoholism throughout his life, and it's likely that this heavy drinking contributed to his early death. He died of a heart attack on December the 21st of 1940 at the age of 44 in Hollywood, California. Have you ever wanted to live in a mansion? Have you ever dreamed of? Do you want to know how Great Gatsby's mansion was like? Gatsby's manor is situated in the village of West Egg in Long Island, right next to Nick Carraway's house. A colossal affair by any standard, a factual imitation of some Hotel de Ville in Normandy. This is how Nick Carraway calls Gatsby's mansion at first sight. The place where Gatsby lives is not just a big house, it's an enormous manor with a tower on one side, a marble swimming pool, and more than 40 acres of lawn and garden. This glamorous and inviolable property, with its height and splendor, with great rooms opening out into other rooms, has also a perfect and gorgeous view of the water from within the house. A man with so many large and elegant rooms where he offered the best parties, parties every night, parties were celebrated and rich people attended. More than anything, this place is the most important in the story. It is crucial for Gatsby's plan to reconquer Daisy's heart. Okay, so most of you would say that this story is mainly about love. Well, yeah, it is about love, but I think it's more about obsession. I mean, I don't say that Gatsby didn't love Daisy. He did once, but after 5 years, I think he loved more his idea of her, or his memories about her, not her as a person. And also, this story is not just about love, it is also about mistrust and cheating and lies and murder, but the most important thing, the American dream. The story clearly shows us what is to live the American dream, the transition between being a nobody and being rich, successful, and having everything. And this is a great message. Fight for what you want, for what you wish. But I'm telling you, everything has a limit. And everything in excess can be bad for you. So please set your own limits. And please don't you ever try to follow Gatsby's example. You don't need to change your lifestyle, to buy a house, or to pretend to be someone you're not because you want to impress someone. If you want to do something, do it for yourself, not for everybody else. And if you want to be loved, people will love you because of who you are, because of your person, not because of the things you have. The only thing that matters is you. So live your own life. And read this book. If you ask anybody if they know Sherlock Holmes and they say they don't, they are lying to you. Because who does not know about Sherlock Holmes? So now I'm going to review this short story of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which is a case of identity by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. It all begins when Mary Sutherland goes visit Sherlock Holmes and tells him that on her wedding day she was left alone on the altar and that her fiancé is now missing. She also provides her fiancé's unusual habits, like he would rather walk with her in the evenings than in the daylight, or that he wore tinted glasses when they met. All of these attitudes make Mr. Hosmer Angel's identity kind of suspicious. Mary lives with her mother and with her stepfather, Mr. Windybank. Mary's stepfather didn't want her to get married, but he didn't know that she was already engaged with Hosmer Angel. Mr. Windybank goes to France on business, and here it's when Hosmer and Mary organize their wedding before he returns. But on the wedding day, when Hosmer's cab arrives, it is empty and he's not there. The only things Mary has from her fiancé are typewritten letters. So Sherlock writes a letter to Windybank and he receives a response typed on the same machine as Hosmer's letters. So Holmes deduces that Windybank and Hosmer Angel are the same person. But this was all designed to help Windybank and Mary's mother to retain the money she gives to them every year. Sir Arthur Ignatius Conan Doyle was born on May the 22nd of 1859 in Edinburgh, Scotland, and he was the second of 10 children born to Charles Altamont and Mary Foley Doyle. He trained as a doctor, gaining his degree from Edinburgh University in 1881. He created Sherlock Holmes' character, who made his first appearance in A Study in Scarlet, published in Beeton's Christmas Annual in 1887. During his writing career, he wrote 4 novels and more than 50 short stories about Holmes and Dr. Watson's adventures. In 1893, he killed off Sherlock Holmes, hoping to concentrate on more serious writing. He died of a heart attack at the age of 71 in his house in Crowborough, East Sussex, on July the 7th of 1930. Sherlock Holmes is the main character in this story. He's a private detective who, together with Dr. Watson, solves different crimes, cases, and mysteries. He is the person Mary goes to, asking for his help to find her missing fiancé. To find out Sherlock's physical appearance, I had to look up the illustrations in the book, and thanks to that I could say that he is quite tall. He's also rather slim, and he appears to be between his mid-30s and his 40s. His main characteristic is that he's very observer. He's always looking for every detail that one at first glance would not realize. For example, the same typewriting in both Mr. Windybank and Hosmer Angel's letters. He's also a very quick thinker because just by listening to the story Mary told him, he deduced what was happening, and he only had to confirm his theory. Sometimes he's kind of impatient with Dr. Watson since he cannot understand how he does not pay attention to important details but to superficial ones. But after all, he's an excellent detective and his reliability makes everyone want to go to him. What can I say about this book? That's the question. I wish it would have been longer. But I understand that there are many short stories about Sherlock Holmes and I have the opportunity to read them all if I want to. And I have to say that even though I don't like much to read, this kind of stories really catch my attention and I really enjoyed them. But I prefer 100% to watch Sherlock Holmes rather than to read it. And in fact, because of this book, now I'm watching BBC series Sherlock. But for real, these are really great stories, so if you have the chance, please read them. So this is all for this booktube. I really hope you enjoyed it and that it's been useful for you. Bye!